Hi everyone, Charles from the Food People here. I hope you're all keeping safe and well. It's my great pleasure to welcome one of the hottest chefs in Italy right now, Valentino Cassanelli. Valentino joins me today to talk about what motivates him and why, how he uses the local culinary landscape as his inspiration, his renowned tasting menu called On the Road, also why Italian food is so comforting, a little bit about his award-winning pasta dish, and a raft of other topics. So welcome, Valentino, and thank you so much for joining me today as part of the Food People in Conversation With.
Hi, Chef, and hi to all food people. I'm really glad to be here, and thanks to invite me.
No problem. At the Food People, we're very clear about why we do what we do. We're champions of change, driven every day by our intent to shift the future of food and drink by harnessing the power of trends. And in this In Conversation With series, it's all about talking to other people, businesses, brands, entrepreneurs, to find out more about why they do what they do, how in their way they're championing change and shifting the future of food and drink. Valentino, it's a great pleasure to be speaking to you today. Thanks for joining me. If I can start just by asking you, how have the last 12 months been? What's your current situation with regard to COVID? Are you even currently open at the moment? Just give us a little bit of context as to where you're at.
Obviously, it's been really hard for us as for all. We changed our life standard, the business model, the personal priority, and the personal rules. And it's really difficult to keep thinking ahead with the positive feelings, and with it's a really unexpected period, this one. Yeah. But we try to do the best. We try to keep the team focused on the job we do. And we keep training. We keep to stay in touch with our guests. And so we've done a project in Dalmazia, so our beach restaurant in the summertime. Mm-hmm. We did a pop-up of the Lux Lucis of the Michelin star restaurant on the beach to mm-hmm. keep everything a bit more easier, a little bit more informal. Yeah. And this is being really good. It's working good. And now actually we are in the low season mm-hmm. Because we are on the seaside. So in this period we usually have the main restaurant, the Lux Lucis, closed, yeah. And the beach restaurant obviously closed because yeah. It's winter here. Unfortunately, we had to close 1 month, maybe a month and a half. The Hotel Principe, the part of the hotel, uh-huh. Because usually that part is open all year long. Uh-huh. So in this moment, we are actually closed with everything. Yeah. We hope to reopen in a couple of weeks, maybe at the worst, in the worst case, maybe in the beginning of March. Yeah. And the restaurant will be open in the beginning, the 1st of April, if uh-huh. everything is going well, as yeah. we hope so.
Okay. Oh, well, I'm sure we all hope that you're able to open as planned. I have to say, I love the idea of Michelin star dining on the beach. That sounds fantastic. That sounds like a great dining experience. In a moment, I'd like to talk to you about your Michelin star restaurant, Lux Lucis. But before I do that, can I ask you just where your passion for food and hospitality comes from? How did you come to be a chef in the first place?
I was born in a traditional family of the countryside of Modena in Emilia-Romagna. So I started really young to be attracted from the conviviality of the Sunday lunch, of the morning with the family. Yeah. My grandmother making pasta early in the morning, teach me to make tortellini, lasagna. So for me, it's been natural to decide to share this curiosity, this passion for gastronomy world. Yeah. So to make people happy was my passion. Science was really young, so I decided to study and to cook a lot. So that part is my passion to be a cook, a chef. Start from the beginning. I don't know when, but I was really young. Yeah. you know, be a cook, be a chef is like is a lifestyle. It's not a real job.
No.
Everything is food. Everything is gastronomy. Everywhere you look, you see ingredients.
Yeah.
So it's been a really easy to get this approach inside a kitchen and start to do my job.
Who obviously from that early inspiration when you came into the industry and made that commitment to be a chef, you've obviously worked with some very inspirational chefs. Who are those chefs that have really inspired and influenced you in your career?
For sure, one of the best, the last one, and the longer experience in a position or relevant position was Carlo Cracco in Milan. But I had a really good experience in Locanda Locatelli and Nobu in London as well. And that is inspired me. I was really young, a big brigade. Everything was really powerful. The moment for me as well as a man was a really powerful moment to get input from everywhere. But I think in this world, in this job, all the people I met in my life and in my career as well influenced me. It's a continuous of sharing right now as well, and in my future as well. From everywhere, from everyone, you can learn and you can be influenced to do a dish later. So I think everyone I met in my life, in my career, has been an influencer for me for my job.
So do you try and take different things from conversations and working with different people and sort of almost build it up as a library of inspiration almost?
Yeah, exactly. For everything, for people, you can be influenced in hearts. You can be influenced because a person tell you something and you start to working on and imagine that, and then the confronting with the other people. That I think is the most important things in our job. A free mind. You can working on with all the people and try to share everything. The big name for sure help. The big restaurant gonna help you in the technical part, how to manage a brigade, how to manage a restaurant, how to prepare a menu, a la carte, or the things, the technical part, the approach with the people, with the guests and the brigade as well. That part is really, really important. Every chef, every kind of things. And when you do experience, you can get what you feel the better one from each and make your own one. But for the influential on the plate, I think you have to always be free of mind. Get everything, but do just your things.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's really, really fascinating and quite inspirational. Kind of, thinking about how you start with that clean sheet and take inspiration from many different places. I mean, we'll talk more about the inspiration of geography and your landscape in a moment, but before we do that, can you just tell us a little bit about your Michelin star restaurant, Lux Lucis? Where are you situated? What can diners expect? Tell us just a little bit about the restaurant.
Of course, the Lux Lucis is located on the rooftop of the Hotel Principe. Hotel Principe in Forte dei Marmi is a 5-star luxury hotel, really small, 28 rooms, but with 3 restaurants inside. The beach restaurant, the Dalmazia, and the main restaurant of the hotel, the Principe, where you do breakfast, dinner, and everything of the hotel, and then the Lux Lucis on the top floor. At the same floor, we have the awarded bar 67 Sky Lounge. So on the same rooftop, you can do from aperitif to the Michelin star dinner, and then an after dinner and everything on the top floor. From the dining room, you can see the Tyrrhenian Sea on the front and the Upon Alps in the back. and all the country yard around. So it's really a really amazing place. And it's deeply connected to the territory, because what we do in the rest, as the menu is take the deeply connection with the territory you can see from the dining room, melting and infuse that with my experience with the brigade work, and then give all of that at the plate, in the dishes. So that is our visions of the Lux Lucis. Is what we expect is to give that modern Italian food, give a lot of personality, and we have an international client, an international guest, because the hotel, because we are in a really touristic part of Italy, really beautiful. So we expect from us the best to share this small part of Italy, this small part of the world. So
it's almost like your restaurant on the top floor is looking out over everything that feeds into it, almost, from the sea and the land and the mountains and so on. Yeah.
When we thought to give the name to the Lux Lucis. Lux Lucis is a Latin word. Lux is light. Lucis is of the light. In the Latin language, the light is the light as you see. So the light gives the color to everything, give the life of everything. Yeah. And of the light, so Lucis is the idea, the creativity. So in the Latin word, give the light of a thing is the idea is starting from you. No? So when we give the name, it's been really easy to think of Lux Lucis, because we want to represent the territory, the tradition. So that's why it's Latin word, because we are Italian. So in a Latin word was more powerful, the vision of the territory and the tradition. Light, because we are in a rooftop, all playing with all glasses. You can see everywhere from over there, 360 degrees around you. And of the light, so Lucis, because what we do is represent the territory, the classic things, the tradition, but in a modern, in a creative kind of style.
Yeah. That's amazing. I love the connection and how you brought that into the name of the restaurant and the meaning. I suppose the deeper meaning behind it. And I suppose that brings me on to kind of my next question, really. And I wanted to ask you to explain your kind of, I know it's a grand term, but your kind of culinary philosophy or your purpose as a chef. What is it that you're trying to achieve in food as a chef? What are you striving towards?
This is a difficult question to answer, but what I usually like to say to our guests when I ask me, this is what we represent, what we want to do is a free expression of Italian cuisine. Free because we are aware, free of mind. We study, we research, but we're following our personal view of a free personality. Expression because of that we live, we live. All what we do is to express our vision of food and taste, and what we like is to share it. Just to share it. We like to share what we want to express. And the Italian cuisine, because we are really lucky and really glad to represent such an important and deep cultural moment, full of ancient tradition, wonderful biodiversity, and a modern thinking for sure, and really good taste for sure.
Can I ask you, you've used one word 3 times so far as we've been talking, and that is modernity, modern. Can I ask you what modern Italian food or modern Italian cooking, what does that mean for you versus traditional? What is modernity to you?
I don't have the right answer for sure. I have my opinion, and in my opinion, the modern. When you think modern, you think to what you are, what you know now, what you have the knowledge of the moment.
Yeah.
So if you study a lot the tradition, where we come from, where the old people from this part of Italy talking from the region where we work or where we are, where we live before, you have a lot of knowledge, and you can represent it in a modern way because you have a lot of experience of how the world is now, how the taste is now, what you want to represent, how the people stay at the table, how the people have the approach to going out in a restaurant or in a bar or at the lunchtime, at the dinner time. Every time is different, and what we want to represent is ingredients from Italy, a recipe, a taste of Italy, going around the world, infused with my experience, with my own thinking, with the working brigade, and then come back at the restaurant. So in the front of you, you have it's not a fusion dishes, but it's the ingredients traveling with you and be back over there. So you are there and you taste something have a story behind.
Yeah.
So that I think is the modern thinking of what we do. Everyone on the new young generation of the chefs in Italy, we're talking about Italy now. So it's not because I have pride, but it's talking about that. And I think it's a really good moment for Italian cuisine because there are a lot of young chefs are working on the small territory with his own products and try to involve that part of the kitchen, that kind of the kitchen in a modern, in a singular and personal way. Yeah. So if traveling in Italy, you can feel this difference and this different approach each other's in the territory and in the kitchen as well. So I think it's a really good moment for the modern Italian cuisine.
That's really fascinating because we use that term modern cuisine, modern Japanese, modern Australian, modern Italian, and that's really interesting to get your perspective on what that means. And much of what you're saying aligns actually really beautifully to our thought process, which is it is about a collection of inspirations. It can be ingredients perhaps from other areas or maybe techniques, but it's your interpretation from all of those influences together is what makes it modern.
You can give to two chefs the same ingredients, but if they're following himself, the personality, give two different dishes for sure. So that is the beauty of our job, and the beautiful thing to go in a restaurant like the Lux Lucis, so a really personal restaurant with this personal style. So you go there and you can find the same sibas of another place, but in a total different style, in a total different taste and everything, but it's the same ingredients.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about the local geography, the landscape around Forte dei Marmi? How does that influence that rich larder? How does that influence your cooking?
So Forte dei Marmi is by the sea. It's a small town by the sea. And we have the Upon Alps is a really high mountain just in the back. So in the middle, there's a lot of country yards. So it's a lucky place for us, for a chef. Yeah. There's a lot of unique ingredients. There's some really fresh and good things to work it. So make my job quite easy in the end. I'm quite lucky. It's a strategical town as well, because it's an exclusive town, small, but in the end of the day, it's easier to get there from the main art city, like it's 20 minutes from Lucca, it's 45 minutes from Florence, 2 hours from Milan. Yeah. We have the airport of Pisa in 25 minutes, so you can get here from all the parts of the world. And all this influenced me, because influenced me the part of the sea, obviously, because we are deeply in the sea. We have the beach right here, so there's a lot of fish, a lot of fresh things, weeds. So we work with seaweeds, we work with a lot of products from the sea. The same as the mountain, because in the mountain behind here, you can imagine it's really in 20 minutes, you can be at 800 meters. Yeah. And then the mountains go on. And after that mountain, there's Modena, there's my home country. Yeah. So it's really easy to go and find wild herbs, for example, some particular ingredients from the mountain, meats, vegetables. So it's a really nice place for living. And Forte dei Marmi is really quiet town. You can go around with bicycles. So most of the people coming from all over the world, from the United States, from Russia, from everywhere, usually from Europe, usually they like Forte dei Marmi because it's really small. We have high standards of service, so restaurants, bars, and everything. But the life is easy. Yeah, you can get your bicycle, go around, really simple, it's not bad, not many people. So that's the important things of Forte dei Marmi.
And can you tell us some of the story behind, you must have some amazing suppliers, and I'm sure supplying some quite unique ingredients, and I'm sure that's a very long list, but could you just give us a bit of a taste of that? Some of those kind of hero suppliers and some of the really special ingredients that you're able to get from them.
Ingredients is obviously the key of our world, of the kitchen. Yeah. So we try to exalt all of that. When I think to an ingredient, I think the ingredient is perfect as it is. You can imagine an apple is perfect as it is. So what we try to do is just to represent a part of the ingredient, try to exalt the maximum and making a dish. But the ingredient itself is perfect as it is. So to do that, we have to have a really good relationship with our suppliers, with the territory. We have a lot of that, it's really small. We have, for example, one is making the pastinocello of Serravezza. Is an ancient carrot. It's growing just in Serravezza. Serravezza is just behind Forte dei Marmi, the first hill of behind Forte dei Marmi. And the University of Pisa is trying to keep this seed and making one plant every year, one small land to plant that, to keep the seeds and maintain the biodiversity. But it's a forgotten carrot. We use just us and a couple of friends try to keep this and to keep this active. Otherwise, you can lose one product. It's a carrot. It's not a caviar. But anyway, it's our product. It's our land. So if you lose a piece and then a piece and then a piece, you're gonna lose everything. You're gonna lose your story. The same thing we do with the ancient grain. Asian grain and then the flour. We have a small mill here just behind me. He used to make flour with the grain, with the ancient grain, like Verna with the Senatore Cappelli is the most important here from the ancient, from the Roman period in Italy. And they still plant this, they still making flour with this. And so we are happy to use it for making our bread and our pasta with that. Otherwise, if we don't buy that, they can't buy the same things, and all the territory gonna lose something.
Yeah.
For the fish as well, we are in the coast and we work with the small fishermen from Genova in the northern, near in Liguria, is another region of Italy, to Livorno, because the coast is different, and in different parts of that you can find different fish in different period of the year.
Yeah, of course.
So we try to work with more fishermen to maintain this kind of things and work with the not popular or maybe less popular fish for the meat, the same thing. So we have the really different things. Yeah, we try to preserve. Because at the base, I think a restaurant has to represent a territory.
Yeah.
And a chef must be how can I say, an ambassador for the people living in his country.
Yeah.
If you take this in your heart, in your mind, you can have not just our own approach, but a collective approach to the same project. I do fine dining, but behind me, behind my plate, behind my dish, there's a territory, there's a collective place, there's an approach, try to bring up all the nets of the territory.
Yeah, okay.
If everybody do his small part, we can do better.
Yeah, okay.
Better, and keep a better place for our son and our future.
Yeah, no, I get that. And you talked about representing a territory, and I suppose, I mean, I was really inspired when you were telling me as we were preparing for this about your tasting menu on the road. Via Vandelli, is that right? Am I pronouncing it correctly? Yeah. Via Vandelli. Just tell us about that inspiration. What does that tasting menu represent?
Represent my life story, because in the as I mentioned before, I'm from Modena. Modena is a city in Emilia-Romagna, just behind the mountain we have now in the back, and there's an ancient road connecting Modena to the sea, to the Tyrrhenian Sea, and the name is Via Vandelli. It's made in the
17th century.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
So the Via Vandelli is an ancient road connected Modena to the sea. And what I do is I geolocate the dishes on the road.
Okay.
So what I want to represent is a slow travel. I'm a passionate traveler. It's a really passion for me. And I try to represent it because now, right now, it's difficult to travel anyway. But in the normal time, we travel really fast and really easier than in the past. And so many times you can visit many things, but you collect in really less than before, because it's fast. You go, you get just the best things you have read on a guide. Yeah. So many things you're gonna lose it, and when you go slow and you travel slow, you can have more of that, and you collect the best and things you can have from a territory. You can live the territory as a man of this place, of that place. And what I want to represent is I'm a man. I'm walking on this road. As my story from Modena to Forte dei Marmi, to the sea. And then I take one ingredient from a part of this root, and as I tell you before, I give that I give to the ingredient my experience, the work of brigade, so the infusion of ingredients or techniques coming from all over the world where I was been, or where I worked, or where I learned these techniques, and I give that infusion I want to represent for that plate. So
give me an example then. I really want to give me a great example, because I'm really intrigued. Give me an example of one of these dishes that's
well, for example,
a bit of the story behind it.
We work on a red mullet, and for example, it's infused with the resin of the pine, with the pine nuts. So the red mullet is a really typical fish from the Tyrrhenian Sea. We have a lot really good from the rocks, and it's infused from the pine. We have around the hotel. We have around a lot of pine all over this part of Italy. And we use a Japanese technique to get the compression of the resin inside the red mullet. We cook it at 42 degrees to compress this resin and give a texture really different. So you have the infusion of the Japan, but in a total taste of Forte dei Marmi. You smell the pines around you. You're gonna taste with the red mullet, the juice of the red mullet. So it's really Italian, but it's not Italian. Yeah. It's really geolocated in our place, but it's not a traditional plate. But our restaurant managers say always, this is the most traditional plate Valentino is doing. Because it's like eating Forte dei Marmi, but it's totally different than the usual cuisine. For otherwise, a pigeon, we take this pigeon and we glaze with octopus juice. And you can taste the country up pigeon usually is so sweet. The meat of the white pigeon usually is quite sweet, and we reduce this juice of octopus like that. You can have this glazed, really salty. They taste like a soy sauce. It's really tasty. So like that is my kitchen. Like the spaghettoni is an anchovies juice, really tasty Italian taste, but with infusion of many ingredients come around the world. Or for example, the blackfish is a deep fish making with morels and peas, and we used to make a sour sauce. Really tasty and really fresh. So in this case, maybe there is a Japanese marination with a kind of ceviche for the sauce, but a total Italian kind of fish and kind of preparation, and with the smell of thyme, of cypress. The smell you can feel, the scent you can feel here in my place, in my region. So that's what we do with our kitchen, with our brigade and our restaurants.
And how do you want to? So if I was a diner and I was experiencing on the road the tasting menu, how would you want me to feel? How would you describe the experience that you would want me to have?
The Via Vandelli, on the road menu is a day trip with me and with the brigade. Yeah. So take by hand and discovering the land, the tradition, the experience, the emotion. You can feel it, the exchanging with other people you can meet during your trip. Yeah. So the discover of the world. Anyway, going around Via Vandelli is going around my world. Mm-hmm. So my food world. And anyway, in the end of the day, what the guests have to feel is full of happiness, and for sure the light. So that is for me, that's the most important. But anyway, it's like to travel with me hand by hand and getting around this Via Vandelli, because many times in contemporary restaurant or modern restaurant, in the tasting menu, you're gonna lose something, because if it's the first time you go in that restaurant and you are not a critic or really expert, for the chefs, it's really easy to keep a story behind the menu. For an expert, maybe he can recognize the story of the chef, everything have a connection, plate after plate. But maybe for the first time, it's quite difficult to get in connection with what the chef want to tell me, with all these plates. In this case, you geolocate all the plates. It's like, as I said before, taking by hand the guest. So come with me. I'm gonna show you my road, my life. So it's quite easier than before. It's complicated but easy.
Complicated but easy. Well, I really want to ask you about, I know you've got an award-winning pasta dish and spaghettone with anchovies in burrata with umeboushi and caviar. And can you tell us a little bit about that? Why do you think it won the award? What makes it so special, really?
Because it's really good. I don't know actually, but for sure the key of the plate is the anchovy broth. In Italy, we never used to make broth with anchovies, because many times it's almost bitter, quite too strong. But we had find a technique to make a really good broth of anchovies. So with that, we cook it inside the pasta, and then when the amide, with the part more sweet of the pasta, is keeping all the juice of the anchovies in the reduction, you're gonna have a really intense flavor of the sea. And then when you add the fat part of the burrata cheese, water, and then the smoked part of the katsubushi, and then the more acid part of the umeboushi we used to make an oil for the end we add in the end of the plate, and then the caviar on top. We're gonna be back of the intense part of the fish. Then in the end, you have a delight dish, really Italian, because taste of anchovies really the taste of anchovies is really strong. But anyway, a really personal plate, because as we talking before, is the main ingredient is anchovies, so the most poor fish of Italian Mediterranean, but it's traveling around the world and getting infusion from south of Italy as the burrata from, and Asia as the umeboushi and katsubushi, and then the caviar, and then it's back again in Italy to represent a Lux Lucis dishes.
Yeah, it sounds absolutely incredible, and it ticks many of my favorite ingredients. It must be a real umami hit as well, really intense flavor.
Yes, and then the reduction inside the pasta is really incredible. Its taste is really intense, but anyway creamy at the same time. So
wow, sounds incredible.
I'm waiting you to taste it.
Yes, I'm wishing me to taste it as well. Yeah, definitely. Like many parts of the world, Italian cuisine is part of the culinary fabric in the UK and in many other parts of the world. And during this kind of COVID era, we've seen evidence of cooks, home cooks and restaurant cooks really starting to re-engage with Italian cooking, and particularly the comfort part of Italian food, either making their own pasta or pizza, or lots of people making focaccia. as an Italian chef, what is the comfort factor of Italian food and cooking? What is it that gives you that warmth, that hug? I'd love to ask you from your perspective as an Italian chef.
The cultural roots of Italian cuisine is deep in a social net through the people.
Yeah.
So, for example, as I tell you before, I was young with my grandmother to make pasta when I was a boy. So this is comfort. This is memory of a man. I think dine is eat, but in the same time is sharing a moment.
Yeah.
As always I say, when the guests coming in the restaurant and taking my tasting menu, the first plate I serve it at the chef table, because many times we forget the moment of have a dine is a moment of sharing sharing time together, sharing a cultural moment. Can be for family, for friends, for a guest, for business, for everything, but it's a sharing time.
Yeah.
And it's like a cultural and social moment at the same time. Yeah. During your preparation of the meal, during your chatting, during your confronting, when you taste, when you enjoy, when you dream. So that's many things. Many incredible things can happen in a restaurant and in the house.
Yeah, of course.
In the beginning, it is in the house. We transmit, we transport that in a restaurant, but usually is in the house. And the Italian food, Italian history, Italian approach of that is different. It's for everybody, it's different. From the family, from the house of the people to the restaurant, is the same approach to keep the warmth and the happiness from the beginning, the preparation together with the family, to the end when you taste it. It's really, really good. So that's, I think, is why Italian food is comfort, because from the beginning of when you think to a plate, when you see tonight what we're gonna do, through the preparations together with someone, sharing this time, sharing this moment, sharing, chatting of something else, but together. So that social net, I think, is the key of why Italian food is comfort, and why Italian food is in a comfort zone.
Yeah.
I feel comfort when there is an exchange of right emotion. So I think when you eat a good pizza, when you start to preparing the day before, because you add a natural yeast and you do that for your family or for your guests, sharing that thing, I think is all of that is warmth and comfort.
Yeah, I think, and the lovely thing is, I think that even for people who are not Italian and who have never probably been to Italy, it's such a part of the culinary fabric, not only in Italy but also other countries around the world, that it's able to bring comfort in exactly the way that you're describing, but to people that are not Italian and have never been to Italy. That's the kind of the versatility and the kind of the appeal of it, is that it can transport to other geographies, which is amazing. So you can be happy in the fact that Italian food is comforting people around the world, and particularly here in the UK, for sure. I have a question that I've wanted to ask you, and I've asked other chefs as well, particularly at this time. Given that people have come to live in a world without fine dining because many restaurants have been closed, do you believe that fine dining still has a future in the post-COVID world when we come out of this and you open in April? Obviously, you hope that it does, but can you just tell us a bit about that and yeah, what your kind of belief is in fine dining for the future? Will it still be relevant?
So in my opinion, restaurants are such a reference point. We need to be back to be there.
Yeah.
All will change for sure. We never forget this time. We will be in our memory. We'll be changing our approach in many things, because it's been a tremendous experience for everybody, for sure. But we all need beauty. We all need serenity. We all need to have fun. And fine dining is an approach to the gastronomy.
Yeah.
As many other is. It's not better, it's not worse, but for sure is going to fine dining. It should be like going to a theater, going in a concert, to an exhibition, a moment of cultural exchange, a moment of beauty, and all the people need that. I can't imagine people after COVID, there's no more concerts.
Yeah.
Or if you go a concert, but no more rock and roll.
Yeah.
How can you say that? It's impossible. And fine dining is a part of the gastronomy world. Mm-hmm. Gastronomy means many, many things. Food, you can do whatever you like, whatever you want, but fine dining is a small part. And how you can say this part is there's no more. How the people like before like to go to a cinema, and after COVID, no more like film, no more like movie, and just like real TV. It's impossible, I think.
Definitely.
The cultural sharing, the cultural moment after wars is become again in that moment, in the place. Maybe take a longer, maybe take a different approach in the beginning. For sure, we have to change a little things. For sure, we have to be more, have to have more safer place. For sure, we have to be sure to give to be more aware. But the direction of the restaurants, of the chefs, was already that, to be all the time more aware to what you're gonna do, what you're gonna give to our guests. So now we have to be more present to give all that. But I can't imagine a world without fine dining. How you can imagine a world without arts, without exhibition? How you can say just Picasso by phone, or I don't know. For sure, gonna take time, and we have to be thinking positive and try to work in a business plan really seriously to pass it slowly and going to the right direction. Maybe changing something for the moment to be solid in the future. That's for sure. But we're gonna be back for sure in
amazing.
Strictly.
Yeah. How have you adapted or how do you planning to adapt your business or business model as a result of COVID? Can you give us any thoughts on that?
But it's easily we've been incredibly flexible. For since the last year, we changed quickly to get the rest to the pop-up in the beach, as I say before. We changed the procedure to make a reservation, to meet the guest at the restaurant, the distance in the restaurant. Anyway, in a fine dining, it's easier because anyway you have less table, you have more space. All of that is already arranged for this kind of things. But for sure, we have procedure in the back of the maintenance. For sure, that is going to be really good for us as well, for keeping COVID or not COVID, for sure is something good for us to keep it always focusing in all the procedure and all the things. But so we have to still gifting wonderful experience to our guests. That I think is our rule.
Yeah.
So we can change a little bit our offer. We can change the dynamics or maybe the location as we done. But what we're gonna give is always to share comfort, exclusivity, and safer place for our guests, and give them the experience to be our guest, like in our house.
Yeah,
so this is what we're gonna keep it.
Do you still plan to do your pop-up in the summer on the beach this summer as you did last year?
Oh, at the moment we plan to be back in our location.
Of course,
we changed a little bit some part of the dining room to be more exclusive as well, and more attention to the procedures of everything. But we are lucky. We have an incredible place for this. We're gonna do for sure some nights with the pop-up.
Yeah, okay.
For sure, because it's been a really nice thing, because it's gonna give you a total different approach.
Yeah.
Challenging us for giving a different menu, really adapt to the location, so full of sea, because you are on the beach, it's full of sea. So for sure we're gonna do something really nice this summer too, but for sure we're gonna be back as well.
My last question for you, really, which is, what are your hopes and dreams for the future as a chef?
You know, the first things I have in mind is I want to be back in the kitchen soon. My team is my second family, and I love to cook, and I love to meet my guests at the restaurant. So my dream now usually is always dreaming far and really ahead to plan my future. Now I want to plan my immediate future. I want to be back to cooking and be back to the restaurant, be back with my team. And then we will see, we will do something really good together. We will build our future. Rebuild our future and our dream in the next future. For the moment, I just want to be back to the kitchen.
Back in the kitchen, back with your second family. Well,
yeah, exactly.
That concludes this episode of the Food People in Conversation with Valentino. On behalf of us all at the Food People and the In Conversation with audience, thank you so much for joining me today. You've really inspired us. You've talked from the heart. I think you've made everybody think and smile as well. It's been a real pleasure to speak to you today. Thank you so much for joining me.
No, thank you, and thanks to all food people. Grazie, Chef.
Yeah, gracias. So do join our TFP community for the details of our latest In Conversation with episodes, as well as the latest free-to-access food and drink trends foresight. Visit thefoodpeople.co.uk and complete your details at the footer of the page. On behalf of Valentino and myself, thank you so much for listening to this, the Food People in Conversation with episode. And as always, I leave you with one question, and that is, how are you shifting the future of food and drink? Thanks for listening.